Thursday. Way to slide in the nick of time.
Did I do it? Did I do it? Happy Thursday, everybody. It is a great day. It is cloudy and Akib, so it's a great day to get out and sew.
Everybody else have a hard time believing it's April.
Oh, April 4th. Yes, I do.
Where did the year already go?
I was getting my nails done yesterday, and he had the guts to stand up and say, 8 months till Christmas.
I would not have been a very happy person.
Yeah, we were not. So, 8 months till Christmas, start sewing.
Yay! No, and no.
I know.
Alrighty, so today's live is going to be a little different than usual.
A lot different.
It is a lot different. We have a couple little housekeeping things to go over, and then we are going to do a little kind of bonus freebie, so to speak. We're going to do a little needle class. So a lot of people have asked for a needle class, but instead we decided to give this to you as a lovely freebie bonus. We thought we'd be nice.
A freebie bonus.
A freebie bonus, but we have a couple housekeepings, and I forgot to get this out.
A couple housekeepings. Are you going to clean my house?
Nope.
Oh, that's right. We had a drawing.
I don't want to even clean my own.
Well, mine's kind of clean all the time because there's nobody there.
I'll take you. I will trade you. You can clean mine. I'll go clean yours.
No.
Rude. Alrighty. So, good morning, Miss Carol. I bet the coast is lovely and overcasty looking today.
Yes, it is.
So we had a drawing that would have been what, 2 weeks ago?
No.
Yeah, it would have been 2 weeks ago because I wasn't here last week.
You weren't here.
But you weren't because you decided to go get sick.
Have you had that nasty cold flu? It is nasty.
So the winner of our drawing from 2 weeks ago, for those who liked and shared, I'm sorry I did it beforehand, is Miss Cherie Rollins, and she won her Timberbell Capo Cheer Fat Quarter Packs.
So you get to sew your heart out.
Ooh, okay. So that. And then Mom made this really pretty wall hanging.
The new
flag.
Right. The new OESD. This is the flag that is on it. I am going to bling it. I haven't had time to because girls gotta have bling. But
I love that you use the ombre fabrics so you get the tones and the butterflies.
So I used 1/3 of a yard of ombre, and I got these all out of that. Not the pink, but everything else was out of that ombre. One piece of fabric.
Not the green.
I'm sorry. I'm talking the pinksy greensies.
So
greensies, excuse me.
Your butterflies, this.
Right.
This, I'm too short. This. So very pretty, and that is an OESD. That's their new welcome flag.
Very cute.
Super cute. Pretty. A couple other little things is the Timberbell Day at the Spa. The class for tomorrow is very full. So we did put on a second date. It is up on the calendar, and I did not look before we got on here to see what the date was because I don't remember.
Well, they'll have to go to your website.
They'll just have to. We are not going to run through all the classes today because if we did, this needle class would take us the rest of the time, and we don't want to do that to you.
So how many of you struggle with your needles? They can't answer me.
Not me.
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand. Well,
needles are very important. You can say things, but I can't see anything, so I have to put these on. Good morning, Kirsten and Tammy.
Okay, so my only requirement is absolutely zero judgment on the fabrics that I use as samples. Some of them are just pulled right out of the stash of random projects and things. So that being said, we're going to kind of, please be patient. We're going to try and go back and forth between a slideshow and we've got some little things to show you. So I am going to pop this up. So to the point. So first thing we're going to talk about is the anatomy of a needle. So needles have parts. You proud?
I'm very proud.
And they are very important to explaining why we have differences in needles and why that makes a difference when you sew. So the most important part, this is really hard not to just point at the picture. They won't see that point. So the most important parts are definitely going to be the eye of your needle, the point and tip of your needle. And then you have your groove. Your groove is going to run down the front side of your needle. And that's kind of where your thread is going to fit down along the needle. And so if you have like a 70-10 or you have a 90-14, that groove is going to change to accommodate. So if you're using a thicker thread, you're going to need that bigger needle so that that groove is wide enough to hold your thread and the eye is big enough to get your thread through. So a lot of problems we see people have is shredding with their machines.
Yep.
It isn't always your machine.
Nope.
A good amount of the time, it is your needles.
Needle versus fabric.
So that can make a big difference. Other parts that you have would be your blade, your shoulder, your shank, and the booty.
The booty.
Well, they call it the butt, but I don't feel like that's appropriate. So I'm going to call it the booty. So those are kind of booty. Those are your important pieces of your needle. So we're going to flip forward and we're going to start talking about needles. So the first needle on our list is our jeans or denim needle. Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to need to swap-a-roonies here.
Yes, I am.
So if you notice the tip of the denim needle, it is not a super, super fine, sharp tip. It is going to have a slight ball to it, not a very big one, but a slight one, because our woven fabrics need a little bit of that help and getting through it. So we're going to see if I can remember maybe, yay. Okay, so let me flip this here. So we've got a sample of the denim here, and you'll notice that we have two different types of packaging. We have both the Classy and the Schmetz needles. So both are good quality needles and ones that we suggest. The reason I have both packages is I wanted the ability for you guys to see that the needles are color coded and they're different based on, those aren't open. They're,
I know, I was gonna open
them. So the Classy needles have, out of the way so that they can see the color. Now they can see the color. You can see what you're doing right there.
You need eyeshadow. It's easier to look over there.
Here.
That's great. Perfect.
So they have a blue colored tip. And then on the Schmetz, it's down a little bit further on the needle. Instead of being on that top end of your needle, it's going to be right along the front. Schmetz even has a chart on their website that you can download that tells you which colors mean what, which is kind of handy because if you take them out sometimes and you don't put them away, you don't know what you have. And you'll notice these are all different sizes. So first we have to choose our needle based on what type of fabric we're doing. Then we need to choose our size based on what kind of threads we're using to go with it. And if we have something that's super, super thick. So if we have 2 layers we're just turning up and going through, we're going to need a different size needle than if we are using, say, 6 layers and we're rolling things up to get our hems thicker. Okay, so I'm going to pop that back up. If you ever see that you are skipping stitches when you're sewing along, and this is something I see a lot on people's jeans when they're hemming them, that's never something we want to see is skip stitches. One of those problems is you're not using a big enough needle for that particular item. And so the threads are, the needle can't get all the way through for the threads to meet at the right time. So, good morning, Miss Sandy. Alrighty, so our next needle is embroidery. So, down to the left with the little embroidery.
Oh, I should just so cute.
So you'll notice the shape of this needle is different and the eye is different. I'm going to arrow back for a second. So pay attention to the eyes of the needles on these pictures and your points. So you can see the eye on the jeans needle. Now, if we flip to the embroidery, you can see how much larger that eye is, or longer, I should say. That is because we're designed for rayon and polyester embroidery threads. So I'm gonna flip this back over, maybe. Yay. So with the embroidery needles, They are designed to penetrate our fabric more frequently since we're clearly putting a lot more stitches in there really quickly. And they're designed so that when you have those tight embroidery areas like your little flowers here, where there's lots of stitches really close, you're not going to create big giant holes with your embroidery needles. So they're going to be able to have those close stitches without it sinking through your fabrics. So it's super, super important. And then with our slippery threads, that longer eye allows the thread to have the room to go and not cause you any issues. You'll notice one of these packages says titanium on it. I think someone mom's got in her hand right now. It's purple. So the titanium needle, the idea is that they're going to last longer. Some people love them, some people hate them. It's a personal choice. You'll also notice that some of the Schmetz packages are going to come up saying chrome. Chrome needles from Schmetz and Floriani are triple dipped in chrome. So if you break your needle, instead of breaking into little shards, it's going to give you a nice clean break so that you don't have a bunch of metal pieces in your machine, because that's no good and nobody likes that. And it makes your machine very, very sad.
So the color on the...
Well, it doesn't matter about the color. I just wanted them to know that in the first place. Although the purple on those is really pretty.
It is pretty.
Okay, so. Ha ha. Sort of getting the hang of this. I'm sorry if I make y'all sick swapping back and forth. And you'll notice here on these slides that some of them will tell you, it'll say the available sizes. So most needles are available in a variety of sizes, and some of them even have twin needle options, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But if it does, I have tried to list that in there. Alrighty, Jersey ballpoint. So there is two types of needles that people will use for stretchy type fabrics. So we're going to talk about the two different and what kind of the difference, the easy way. So Jersey ballpoints, they're designed for sewing on knits and some of our stretch fabrics. So they have a much shorter eye. You'll notice they're super dull at the front end of it, and kind of wide, so that they can part the fibers instead of break the fibers, because if they broke the fibers of our jerseys, we'd have this lovely run in our shirt, and that wouldn't be very cute.
So if you were actually to put this at the tip of your finger, like I will have to try because that's just who I am.
That sounds like a lovely plan.
Doesn't it though? We're going to try that.
So like this right here is just a stretchy t-shirt fabric. It's nothing super exciting.
Your nails match it.
Yeah. I'm all into this Tiffany blue lately.
So I am actually putting this on my finger and it does not hurt at all.
Nope. So it's designed to part the fibers, not break our fibers, because we want that pretty stitch. So if you've ever gotten onto your sewing machine and gotten a little frustrated because you look at your stitches and you're like, they're not looking good. They're not perfectly straight. One's kind of slightly askew from the other. This is why you'll kind of get that. It should be a straight stitch and it looks like it's almost heading towards zigzag. The wrong needle can give you that. So if you put this ballpoint needle in and you try to sew your quilt with it, your stitches are going to look terrible. It's going to shove your down into the bobbin area of your machine, and you're going to get real cranky real fast.
And you know, I know this, and I was working on something this weekend, and my stitches look terrible, but did I change my needle? I did not, even though I should have.
We've all been guilty of just not doing it, but we should. I don't know, Janice. I don't know what you did. Alrighty, so moving along, the next one is our leather needle. Now, the only thing I did not get was a picture of the back of the leather needle, and I totally forgot to do this. So leather needles are different than every other needle that there is, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it on there. So leather needles have a cutout in the back of the needle to allow for a much smaller hole. Oh, hang on. I'm going to flip this over. Maybe. There we go. No, you can't really see it. Well, when you're over the black, you kind of can. No, it's just if you use the black behind it. and you get closer to the camera, you can sort of.
Like right in there, you can see it right there.
So it kind of cuts back out of it so that you can go. Yeah, you can definitely feel it. So you can go through your leathers and pleathers and not make big holes, because there is no fixing if you make a hole in there. So it's designed to make it a smaller hole. So if you do have to rip out, you're still safe. It'll also allow for smooth gliding in. Okay, so we're gonna go back over here. See, I'm trying, but there's a lot of buttons to push. And not even the fun ones. The fun ones are when you push mom's buttons and you go.
Oh, that one just got, yeah.
But I'm really good at it. Metallic needles are right in front with the metallic thread. Closest to you.
Closest to me. It was tucked up underneath. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so metallic needles are literally designed for metallic threads. And if you look at the picture here, the eye of the needle is long, allowing for the thread to pass around that and not heat up, causing breakage. So that's what tends to cause the breakage and shredding, is because there's metal in your metallic thread and there's metal needles, and the metal creates all that heat and friction, and then you cause issues. So when you are, I got it, yes. So when you are using, wow, that spool is very beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful?
Very attractive. So when you're using those metallic threads, that allows those to pass through. The other trick with metallic threads, some brands like things one way versus another, but the other needle trick with metallics is if you swap your needles out. So if you know you're going to be doing a lot of sewing with that metallic thread, you take 2 needles and you swap out every so often, and that allows for the heat on the needle to cool down so that you don't keep causing yourself breakage.
And a secret to when you're doing that, to knowing which needle you used, if when you put these back in the container, turn it the opposite direction, and then you know that that's the one you're using.
Ooh, I have an even better way.
Yes, we do. This is my ultimate favorite. It's called MyPad. MyPad is going to let you put a pin in where you have that particular needle in your machine. I use one of these at home, and I'm telling you, it saves me so many needles. If you don't use that needle and you know that it's not dull, when you take it out of your machine, then you simply put it in where it is listed right here, and then pull that pin out and put it where the other one that you put in. So very, very cool. There should be a pin in here that's got a little flower head on it.
Probably right underneath the label, because that's usually where it goes.
So way cool, and it's called MyPad.
And if you have kitty cats, you could slide that into a sheet protector to keep the kitty cats from being able to.
That is a true statement. I don't have pets, so.
I don't either, but I have kids, and they're just bad.
Along the side, it's going to say what type of needle, and then it's going to give you your sizes. So it's very well done. Very well done.
And the colors on there coordinate with the colors of the Schmetz needles.
Correct.
It only took me like 100 years to realize that. Just saying. Okay, so we're going to flip back over here. Okay. The other thing about the metallics is they're also, that eye is polished to keep it nice and smooth. Okay, so Microtech Sharps, my favorite. And these are the funniest looking needles when you zoom in on them and get that really close view. So Microtech Sharps needles are super, super sharp and a very fine tip, as you can see. So they are designed for anything that we have that is going to be a delicate fabric. I tell you sometimes. Delicate fabrics, it's going to be great for microfibers. Anything that's kind of a pain to sew on, when in doubt, put a Sharps in and it seems to fix all the world's problems. Not really, it just makes me feel that way.
Say, wow, that's a nice fix.
So anytime you're working with what I would call formal fabrics, is that a good?
Satins.
anything that would be more of those types of fabrics, shears, your sharps needles are going to be fantastic for them. Keep in mind, and I find that sharps tends to be the one that we see people put tiny ones in because they're working with finer fabrics.
Very tiny.
If you are trying to use your needle threader, nothing smaller than a 7511 to put your needle threader through. If you use a smaller needle, then you run the risk of your needle threader getting bent and coming to visit to get a new one. So I just don't recommend doing
it. Good tip.
So that is your Microtex sharps.
If you girls have questions, please let us know.
Okay, so quilting needles. So quilting needles, you're going to notice the whole needle itself, all of the shaft up to the shaft, the point, everything is a lot thinner, and it's going to taper up. So it starts really thin and it will taper to a little bit larger as it goes up the needle. And it's designed to go through and do your quilting and prevent damage to any of your material, especially as you're sewing in layers. So when we've got, 3 or 4, 5, 6 points all mixing and matching together, quilting needles are going to be a very sharp tip, and they're going to hide that so I can go back over to Mom. They are designed to allow you to get very precise stitching, very straight stitching, and
beautiful.
And they're also designed so that you can get very close to the edge without shoving your fabric down into the bobbin area, because that's no bueno and nobody likes it.
If you look at the tips of these, I know you guys can't really see it that well, but they are so ever tiny.
Yes. So really, really important, and it will help you get a much straighter stitch on your cottons. So it's very important because it's going to pierce those fibers to allow you to get that perfectly straight stitch. Let's try saying that 10 times fast.
I dare you.
Thank you. Okay. There again, keep in mind the different weights of your thread are going to make a difference, but you'll notice that since typically with quilting we use a 60 weight thread for our piecing, you'll notice that that eye is a little bit smaller because it's designed for that lighter weight thread. Moving on to our stretch needles. That should be with my fancy pink fabric. So I love how they call it elastic knitwear. Synthetic suedes that have the stretch in them. Anything that's got, I'm going to call it the 80s leotard look.
Yep. That would be right.
Well, that's what that came from, is me. The sample fabric I have, I'll switch to in a second, is from doing an 80s costume for Madison. So it's designed with a very deep scarf to prevent skipping your stitches. So I am going to flip over. I lied, maybe not. There we go. You can't see how shiny this lovely pink fabric is, but it is very 80s leotard and super, super stretchy. So it is definitely your dancewear. There again, this is going to have a ball tip to it, but it's going to have that deeper scarf. So it's going to prevent you from skipping your stitches as you go through, because it's giving that thread the flexibility of movement in there, and giving it that opportunity to get through the fabric, because it's, so fun.
I like this fabric.
It made a great 80s top for Madison. That was the pink that went behind her black shirt, which thankfully means I'm done with Halloween costume for her. She's quite obsessed with the slouchy socks from the 80s. Slouchy socks they're her favorite thing in the world now.
Slouchy?
I mean, to be fair, they're nice and cozy and warm. Top stitch.
Do not see. Oh, I had it out with the strip. Oh,
where'd the free motion go?
I don't know.
You were supposed to bring something for that. That's right.
I was. That's
okay. Use the background of this one. We'll use that sample for 2 things.
Okay.
It's got both. And I'll pop that up. So I promise you I'll make the sample a little bigger in just a second. So top stitch needles have an extra sharp with an enlarged groove to accommodate larger diameter threads. So typically when we're top stitching, we're using heavier weight threads, so we want that larger groove and larger eye to accommodate those thicker threads. So I'm going to put it up there. So free motion is a very big time when we use our top stitching thread or our top stitch needles. They're a great one. Denim is also something that some people would do. Yes, Kirsten. So top stitch needles are great for that. Anytime you're doing top stitching on garmentry, where you're going through multiple layers of fabric and you're like your jeans, especially when you want to get that nice top stitched, you could switch over to this. Whenever like we had a linen jacket in here for a long time and had white thread on it, and those top stitch were great for that.
So I like to use the Denim 12 needle when I'm doing my free motion. I get a really good stitch because you got to think about it. It's used to going through denim, and now you're layering 3 layers of fabric, so it's kind of the same thing. Top stitch, whichever one works for you. A lot of people like to use top stitch.
Okay. I just wish they changed the color of it.
The top stitch?
Yeah, I don't like the orange.
You and your orange.
I do not like orange. It's just not my color. Okay, so, ooh, I didn't mean to do that. Okie dokie, next over. Universal needles. I did not bring a sample of universal needles over because if you come in and talk to me, I will pretty much talk you out of a universal needle. I hate them.
They serve their purpose.
They have a purpose. It's just not my purpose. So universal needles, why the heck would we want them? They're ideal for kind of your general sewing. If you're doing projects where you're not super particular about your stitch quality and things like that, a lot of people will grab a universal, especially if it's more of a craft project or something like that. It is designed with a slight ball tip to it. What are you?
I'm trying to see to make sure the flowers are showing because they're so damn
I should take a picture and post it of you as you're doing this because it's so funny. So I don't need the yarn, as I say, we really just need to do that.
I think it's cute.
So universal needles designed for kind of an all-purpose, not my favorite needle for things, but it will do in a pinch, and I do keep some if I absolutely have to. So anti-glue. Anti-glue needles are fantastic. They are pretty new to the market. Anti-glue needles, what about if you're doing background quilting on anytime I have batting, I would put my excuse me, as I almost go to hiccup as I do that, I would put in my top stitch needle. So if there's batting in there, even if it's being done in the embroidery, I'd throw my top stitch in. Because even though it's being done in the embroidery hoop, it's still the same type of stitching as your regular free motion. Only a lot better than what I would do. Because I am not a good free motion artist. So anti-glue needles. Anti-glue needles are designed with a special coating. It is going to cut through all of the nasty, gross stuff we like to stick on the back of our stuff so we can see or do our appliques and things like that. So anytime you're doing appliques, the anti-glues are really helpful if you have a problem with them sticking. Schmetz does not call them anti-glue. They call theirs a vinyl needle. They are not the same 100%. So they are slightly different, but the vinyl needles will work similarly to the anti-glue. They're designed to be a non-sticky kind of needle. That being said, the vinyl needles are also designed to glide through like the upholstery vinyl fabrics. The stuff that makes my skin go.
Every embroiderer, machine embroiderer, should have these anti-glue in there.
If you're using sticky back stabilizer, it works phenomenal. Any kind of appliques, or if you're using fusible tapes to hem your clothes, whatever you're using that's got some kind of a glue product in it, that really, really helps. It keeps it from getting super sticky. And I mean, it's just kind of cool because the needles are black.
The who are black?
The needles are black.
Oh, I thought you said the noodles, and I'm thinking
I mean,
noodles.
I'm kind of hungry, but no, not noodles. Okay.
Oh, they are black.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I always thought that was kind of cool. I don't know why. because I like things that are different. Okay, twin needles. Probably the most
Awesome.
underused needle in your entire sewing space. So twin needles are going to have the 2 needles and 1 post. And I am going to, there's lots of different kinds.
Hang on before you do that. Let me trim your threads here because it is like a thing. There we go. Well, I didn't get them all.
Okay, so twin needles are fantastic. And I put 2 different colors of thread in the top and a different color in the bottom so that you guys can all see. Yeah, good luck. I had a heck of a time.
I did it.
So twin needles come in stretch.
You
broke it. Twin needles come in a stretch. They come in denim. They come in different widths. So when you are buying a twin needle and you're buying a different, you need to make sure you pay attention to the stitch width of your machine. Because if your machine does not have a wider stitch width, you cannot use those double needles. And most of our machines have a safety function so that we can touch that and tell the machine we're in double needle mode so that we don't accidentally break our needle. But these are a sample of a few of the stitches you can do with your double needle, and just such a fun thing. I love this zigzag.
I do too. That's fun.
I think that one was like my favorite. So with your double needle, make sure you know your stitch width. You can get it based on your fabric type. And the other thing to pay attention is the post. So most double needles will have a center post. That is extremely important. Some double needles do not, and they will have, yes. If that's the case, you have to be careful and test it on your machine, because that's going to throw off that width to one side, which may not work on your machine. So just pay attention to that. Otherwise, they are so much fun, and that's how you can get that nice precise stitching. One of these on here now. So this guy here on this side here is my triple stitch, and you can notice towards the bottom I had lengthened my stitch length out. But if you're hemming or doing a top stitch on something, how nice and pretty is that when you get that triple stitch? So it's nice and thick. And I was using an 80 weight thread, so mine's going to be pretty thin here. But you can get that nicer thick look without having to change your tensions with a thick, heavy thread. So you can cheat. Oh my gosh, mother. Good thing you guys can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so we are going to flip back to the regular camera because I think,
you know, with this twin needle, I remember so many times I would have sewn the 2 stitches for the hemming of a t-shirt if I needed to fix it. And then when we started into business and I learned about the twin needle, I'm like, well, hot diggity dog. That is so cool.
On the back side of your straight stitch is just kind of a little zigzag, very, very thin zigzag.
Oh, you already switched it.
I already switched it. Well, here. Oh, hang on. So this is the back side.
And this would be the zigzag. So it just jumps from needle to needle.
It's pretty cool.
It's cool.
Alrighty. So a couple other little things. So when you forget everything I told you, because I know there's a lot of information, and we did a quick version. We're not doing a full in-depth in there. And I could go on for hours about needles, but there is a little book that we carry called Know Your Needles. It's your little pocket guide to knowing your needles and what needle. And what's really nice about this is it's not just your machine needles, hand sewing needles as well. So this is a really great little tool, and it's $8.50. So it's handy for you to have so that you know what the heck you should be using when you forget. And this is what every sewing machine room, or every sewing machine room, every sewing room should have this box. And I really truly mean it, because it has a package of a universal jeans, metallic, embroidery, sharp, stretch, ballpoint leather, twin. And on the back of it here, it has the different types of needles, and it shows the picture, so it's kind of a good reminder. They run $45.99, but on the inside here,
and the nice thing is you have somewhere.
It even gives you a reminder sheet, just like what I had up there today, and then has everything nice and tidy in there for a package of needles. I say every room needs it because it's a good value. but it also makes sure you have what you need on hand, and you can know immediately, hey, I am out of this package, so I need to replace that. For those of us who don't ever have the right needle when we need it.
I don't. I really don't. I think I do, but I don't.
That is the one thing I do, except for embroidery. I'm always out of embroidery needles, which may tell me something. I maybe break them too often. Or I'm really, really particular about changing them, because that is the other part to needles. Changing your needle is super important, and you can start to hear the sound of your needle almost popping as it comes in and out of the fabrics.
Like my 10 needle, all of the needles changed, and it drives me crazy because I don't like to change them, but I will.
Make your grandkids do it.
No. I have a system down now. I've got it down.
I think you should make them do it. They all need, well, no, make the oldest or the youngest. They need some lessons in manners these days.
That's your job.
I know, but odd jobs for them are good. It builds character, and everybody should stab themselves with a needle once.
No, but you can hear the popping, and that's usually when I change my needle.
Yep, and dull needles are when we start having problems. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I will do my best to keep coming back and double checking them on both Facebook and YouTube. I try to answer both sides. I'm not always the best. I do my best.
You do your best.
So I hope you guys learned something today. I hope you guys all are more successful with your needles.
And we do have our fabric on sale through Saturday.
There is also some financing. So you guys want to make sure you check your emails, check the Facebook page. So there's been updates on all the sales going on in the store. And we look forward to seeing you.
Have a great week, you guys. We'll see you next week.